there squealing. It certainly wasn't for me. I just want to say welcome to a very, very special open house, because today we devote the whole of the programme to a living legend of British pop music. Now, he's had hits in the 50s, and the 60s, and the 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s, and right into the new millennium. And now he's tipped to be #1 for Christmas. This is the song, and this is... who else? Sir Cliff Richard.
Hello, Gloria.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's the marvellous thing about that combination. I knew every phrase, every syllable.
I know, I think
Everybody's
everybody
singing
does. You know, Somewhere Over the Rainbow was voted the best song of the century.
That's right. And
So, I mean, I
think
suppose
the best
anybody
film.
born in the century is going to know it.
I have to say that I read the most wonderful headline the other day. It went, Sir Cliff goes reggae, which I thought was sort of, like, rather with it.
Well, reggae's been around a long time, but the whole thing about the new album is that we've tried to give new life to some old songs. Not that they were dead. I mean, the good songs never, ever die. It's just that really good songs can be pushed in different directions. You can do them in different ways. And I've never heard Somewhere Over the Rainbow in this kind of rhythm before, although I've heard some phenomenal versions of it. Eva Cassidy, I saw Olivia do it live once, and it was beautiful. It lends itself to all sorts of voices.
And as long as it lends itself to #1 this Christmas, you'll be very, very happy.
I'd be happy with 2, but ecstatic with 1.
Are you still as competitive as ever? Do you just want that #1 slot?
Yeah, I don't know ever at any time in my career where we actually aimed at 10 or 5 or even 2, to be honest with you. You never ever know, though, but you can get a feeling, you know, in your water. And you can think, yes, this has got a chance, and that's all you need. You just need a chance to get in there. I mean, the competition's massive at Christmas time, as you know. I mean, it's just everybody. This year, there's everybody and their mother have got records out.
Tell you what, though, with your fan base, you're in with a chance, because your album, how many orders were in for it before it was even released?
Well, I think we probably will have gone gold before it came out. Yeah.
Not bad, eh?
No, it is good to have the fan base, of course it is, but if you think about, for instance, Millennium Prayer, I think the fan base probably helped us to get it straight in at #2, which in fact, none of us knew at the time. It ruined my chances of being #1 that year, because we just couldn't hold it longer than 3 weeks at #1. But the fan base can do a lot in terms of getting your record into a chart quickly. If you're going to sell, as in the case of Millennium Prayer, 1.3 million copies in Britain, then you have to go beyond your solid fan base,
sure,
because they may just be a group of 100,000 people, which is, when I say just, that's gold, by the way. But
anyway, we don't let any of them out until they buy everything today, so it's fine.
Okay.
I tell you what, though, I mean, you and I have known each other for at least 200 years, and
yes,
what I like about it is the fact that you move yourself forward a notch all the time. You try to keep really up to speed with what's going on. And in the special that's coming up later, is it on the 17th of November?
Yes, 17th of November.
You know, you team up with Atomic Kitten and Step, so, you know, with people that are right in there.
I think the thing is that there are always going to be good people coming along. And if you're prepared to, you know, get involved with them, they're usually very happy to be involved with you. It struck me on the night when we recorded the TV special that they were so nice to me. Now, I don't know why I should expect any different. It's just that sometimes you get the image that today's young pop singers are all prima donnas and you know, and think the rest of us who kicked things off years ago are rubbish. But they were really smashing to be with, really a pleasure to sing with, and they sounded as though, because one of the girls in Atomic Kitten, when it was over, she said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Cliff Richard." And there's me thinking, Atomic Kitten. Because it was wonderful to sing with them, and they can all sing too. A lot of the times you read that bands, not new bands, don't really sing and can't sing. Well, certainly Steps and Atomic Kitten can. Well,
as we're about to see, this is a little clip from the show as a taster.
Oh, good.
Wow, good moment. So November the 17th is when it's going out.
Yeah, November the 17th will be when that show will be seen.
Excellent.
I've got to tell you, I was at the Harry Potter premiere a couple of nights back, and I was busy talking to some press and TV and all that, and 2 fabulous-looking birds came running up to me, and it was 2 of the Atomic Kitten, and they said, "We know him." I don't think they realised how good it made me feel. It was just
and also
wonderful.
you had Steps choreographer, didn't you? Actually do a lot of the moves for staging.
Yes, on the TV show, I do about 3 numbers with very young dancers who could barely keep up. And Paul, the choreographer, was actually, he choreographed Steps. And I said, well, you know, we're not going to have any time to rehearse because Steps were coming in on the day of the shoot, as were Atomic Kitten. So I said, please, don't give me anything complicated. He said, oh, don't worry. Normally, he said, I aim my choreography for 10-year-olds. So, as you may have noticed, it's now for 90-year-olds because all they do is shuffle from one foot to the other. Had we had longer, it would have been good to try and do one of the things that the Steps do, because they do usually
I tell
great
you what, though,
choreography.
I expected you to come in today and speak in a squeaky voice, knowing that you'd been on a harness and flying. I thought that could do a boy a lot of damage for a long time.
It could.
Anyway.
Maybe in the old days it would have done, but they have such fantastically wonderful harnesses now that you can actually... Mind you,
But you're
flying...
intact, are you?
Pardon?
You're intact.
I'm absolutely intact. I've still got the harness on.
I thought that was your corset, darling. But anyway, we want to see just a snippet of the video because I like the way you fly. Good action. You're a good mover.
Thank you.
Here it is. I think you look like the angel Gabriel there, sort of flying around with your little sort of wings.
The original sort of storyboard sort of had me wearing wings and throwing dust around at people. We got them out of the wings, but they couldn't resist the big glow behind me.
Being there all the time, basically.
It's
yeah.
interesting, although all the movement is done with a computer, because all I had to do was hang there. And then he'd say, right, dive. And so, you move your weight around, and you shorten your legs if you like that, bring your legs closer, and you drop forward, and it looks like you're diving. But in point of fact, the rest of all the movement through is the computer. The computer does that.
So you had a great time doing it, basically.
Well, I was two days hanging there. And it was
hanging around.
Just hanging around, you know. And it was fun for the first day. The second day, I kept thinking, oh, no, not again. But it was worth it in the end, because, again, it's hard to know what to do with videos. And I've always tended to do videos which were strictly facing me at various cameras, and we do different shots, and you just sing it and sell yourself in the song. But I've noticed that a lot of the new bands are working with this method. And although it's not 3D cartoon, you know, it would be nice if you could do something that looked like Disney, but with 2D, it's got a strange effect.
Exactly.
And hopefully my little nephews and nieces will like it at least.
Oh, it's lovely. Yeah. Anyway, we've got so much to talk about today, but we have to take a commercial break at this point. But I know that our audience would like to thank Sir Cliff very much. Thank you. Now, after the break, we're going to be reviewing a few young ones very close to Cliff's heart indeed, because we'll be uncorking the first vintage from his Algar vineyard. No, there's none for you. No, we've only got one bottle, but anyway, it's superbly titled Vida Nova.
Yeah, Vida Nova de Guia at the moment is the thing. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, apparently someone's got the name Vida Nova, so we're working on Vida Nova de Guia.
Oh, sounds lovely.
But the
anyway,
Guia will be very small. You won't have to say that word.
Maybe the sampling will be very small too. You never know. But we'll be here with the sampling right after the break. A landmark edition of Open House, because with us right throughout the programme today, we're very glad to say, is Sir Cliff Richard. Now, I think the audience is quite enthusiastic today, don't you? Now, I know that some people would think that not a drop of drink ever passes his lips, but I can tell you that Cliff enjoys not only a glass or 3 of wine, but he also grows his own, which is very exciting.
It is for me, yeah. I bought a farm in Portugal some years back, and it had a vineyard on it already, but it was quite an ancient one, more than 30 years old, I think. And talking with your wine specialist, he told me that, in fact, they peak at about 25 years. After 25 years, it starts to go downhill a bit.
Was that the older? These are the new vines.
This was the first year of it being the first growth. And my winemaker, David Baverstock, had said, please do not be disappointed. There'll be no grapes. These vines are only a year old. Well, we had 17 tons. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was a real minor miracle. And in the following year, we found all these people, these professors, viniculture people coming down from Spain and from the north of Portugal to look at the miracle. I don't know, miracle.
And how many acres do you have of vineyard?
It's a small vineyard, 16 acres.
16.
So we'll never be able to make more than, say, 45,000 bottles, maybe 50,000 on a really good, productive year.
That'll do you for drinking for a year, won't
It'll
it?
sort me out. It would definitely sort me out. But we're hoping to sell some, you see. So I may go into partnership with a friend of mine who's got a vineyard just down the road. The soil's all the same. He's going to grow the same grapes. We're going to have the same winemaker make a wine. So we might be able to make a few more bottles. And that way we can leave a fair number of them behind in Portugal, too, because the Algarve has never been known for its wine. And the last time I went to a couple of really nice restaurants there, the sommeliers, the wine sommeliers were saying to me, is this the revolution? They're desperate. They're desperate to have a wine that comes from the Algarve, that they can genuinely, with all their hearts...
from that area, or
from the
whole, or yes, from the Algarve
from the
area
whole of the
itself,
Algarve
yes.
area, which stretches right down that southern part of... It's not a massive area, but they've never really been known to have a great wine. And Bavistock said, look, there's no reason why there shouldn't be one here. And it looks as though we've made one, because the two great wine critics that came were from Harper's and from Decanters. They're like the Bibles of the wine people. Sure. And they gave me... I've never received reviews like that for a record or a film or anything that I've ever done. But the wine, they...
You thought it takes the wine to do it?
took the wine to get me great reviews.
Well, I tell you what, joining us now is an author, a wine taster and leading authority on Portuguese wine, North, Central and South. And his name is Richard Mason. So let's go to the kitchen and meet him. Lovely. Obviously, you heard what Cliff was saying there. Now, in terms of Portugal as a whole, I mean, because you concentrated wines from North, Central and South.
That's right.
Is it... it's fairly well known, though, for its wine elsewhere, I mean, apart from the Algarve.
Well, particularly port, of course. That's the best-known wine from Portugal, and that comes right from the north. But I agree with what Cliff said, because having been partly brought up in the Algarve and having tasted a lot of the wine down there and having had some terrible headaches in the past, I'm delighted that we're going to have a wine now which can actually drink down in the Algarve, which is wonderful.
I bought... someone gave me the book of world's... Wines of the world, that's right. And I quickly looked up Portugal. Yes, you're right, all that northern part, and even in the mid part now, the Alentejo has got to make it the best wine. But in the Algarve, and this is right when I had started to plough the field, it said the Algarve has 4 cooperatives, and they basically bottle headaches for tourists.
I think I wrote that, actually. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I think I wrote it. Please blame for that.
I nearly died. I said to Bavistock, do you think we should stop this now? He said, this won't happen.
Well, now, we have... well, I haven't, but someone has very kindly decanted your wine.
Oh, well, someone
So I thought we'd start with yours, first of all.
Shall I pour?
So, please do.
OK.
We want to leave lots of time to taste
we
Cliff's.
do, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm dying to try it.
Because actually not too many people have tasted this. You've had your official wine tasters down.
Yeah.
And good result, as you rightly said.
Well, look at the colour of that.
Ooh.
I mean, I asked... David said, what kind of wine do you want? I said, well, really, in a way, wine is very subjective. I'd like a soft, velvety red wine and very dark coloured. And he came up with that, but added something else. I don't know what he's done, because... The wine has the softness of all the Shiraz and everything, but I think it's the Portuguese... Is it the Aragonese that has a kind of aggressive...
Aragonese helps, certainly, to give it character and give it body and structure.
Tannin and
yes,
stuff.
exactly.
Now, Richard, have you tasted this before?
I've tasted it from cask, but not in bottle.
But not in the bottle. Well, I'm going to let the expert go first.
The wine's very, very different in bottle than it is in...
Yes.
than
So
it
what do we
is,
do? Do we do the legs?
Well,
Yeah,
we look at the colour, which we've already done,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then we look at the legs as well, see the tears running down the
Gloria,
side
you've
of the
got
glass.
nice legs.
They are. My legs. What can I tell you?
And so we've got the lovely deep colour, which Cliff's already pointed out, and then we smell the wine, we swirl it round in the glass like this.
Well,
release
I
the bouquet,
spill more than I
you see.
swirl if I go too hard at it.
And you can smell that lovely ripe fruit. It's bottled sunshine.
I still can't...
Beautiful.
I can't believe this
Can you
comes from
imagine
my
you've grown
vineyard.
this? Your vineyard?
My vineyard. I can't
Wonderful.
believe
Okay, you're going to
Great
taste
feeling.
it ever.
Absolutely. Let's taste it now. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
I want to see what you say, first of all. But don't you spit that out, because there's not too much out.
I'm not going to. We've
only got one bottle.
I can't do what he's doing.
Well, what you should do when you're tasting wine is take a good gulp of it and then suck in air at the same time, making all the sort of noises that your mother told you not to make when you were drinking milk as a child.
Well, I
That's
like
what
just
you do.
sucking in the wine, to be honest.
Just you slurp it, and by bringing the air
absolutely
into your
beautiful.
mouth.
I've tried doing that. It makes me cough.
It's very velvety, isn't
It is velvety. It's very soft, very velvety, very ripe. Again, down in the Algarve, you've got about 3,000 hours of sunshine a year, and you can taste the sunshine here, the ripeness of the fruit.
What else would you say? I want to hear some more words coming out of your mouth.
Some
about
words.
This wine.
Well, and it's got finesse. It's got structure and it's got finesse. It's got good length in the mouth as well, which I think is a good thing too.
The
And
length
as
is
well-
interesting, because if you have a very... Sorry, I've read
no.
I mean, I'm just speaking what I've heard, probably what I read in your book. But, the thing about if you get a very soft, velvety Shiraz wine, it's very drinkable. You can drink it and drink a glass without even nodding. When you mentioned about long on finish, Bavistock had said to me, it's long on finish, which means that when you have the sip, it's easy to drink. And then suddenly all these other things come out.
That's
All
right.
your taste buds.
Let's say I can still taste it here and very much here in the throat. It's lovely.
I guess that's the other stuff he's got in there. The arrogant
It's
Asian.
so nice. Are you going to write about this in your next
Certainly,
wine
it's in
book?
my new book as well already. Yes,
You're
exactly.
in it?
Yes,
Am I?
yes, you're famous.
In it.
Oh, great.
Well, congratulations on that. Now, we should say, by the way, this is not available for sale in the shops.
No, not yet.
As yet.
As yet.
What would you think you would do with it eventually? Would you ever be able to make enough to make it commercial?
I think if I can get this partnership going with the vineyard down the road, we can, between us, probably make 100,000 plus bottles, which would make it then a very viable thing. At the moment, it's a costly habit and a very nice hobby.
Exactly.
But
Now,
with 35,000 bottles, it'll evaporate. If I was to just release it on the internet saying, please buy one, it would just evaporate. And I'm so proud of it, I'd like to do it properly.
And rightly so. Well done.
Well, I think you have done it properly.
Absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful. Really, really good.
Cheers, you can help.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers.
And I just do that as well.
Let's do that, please. All three of us.
I'm lucky if you don't do it.
Go.
Now, let's just choose out one other
Okay.
Portuguese wine, for example, maybe from the north or from the central region that you would like.
Well, we've got table wines here and port wines here as well to choose from. So let's go to one table wine from the north now, called Quinta do Crasto. Shall I pass you a glass of this over?
I'm not going to drink any more
No?
because I've got the rest of the
I'll
programme to
take that
do,
one out.
actually.
Okay, take
I
that
was
one out.
going to finish drinking that one.
You want to finish? Oh,
I want to stay with you.
I just didn't want to get muddled up with all the other rubbish.
No, you can taste this. Excuse me, yours is in the big glass. Right, no mixing.
You're going to try a glass of Quinta do Crasto? David Baverstock was responsible for this at the start, actually.
Oh, was he?
Inception,
He kicked
yes.
it off? Because
He
I know
kicked it off.
his Montevideo
That's
is
right, in the next one in there. But
So
we're
he's the
going
one who helped you as well?
Yes, he's the one that made my wine.
But here we've got a wine made from the same grapes as port wine's made from. Port wine, a wine which most people are very familiar with. But recently, instead of fortifying the wine with spirit, with brandy, making a very alcoholic wine, they've been making wine which is lower in alcohol, the same level as a normal table wine.
What grape is it, though?
Well, it's a blend of all the port grape varieties
Oh.
because Portugal's got all these exciting grape varieties: Touriga Nacional, Tinta Roriz, Touriga Francesa, Tinta Barroca, all these
Don't get too
varieties.
technical on us.
No, I'm not going to, because these are all varieties which you won't have heard of. They're not like Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot and all these varieties. And so we've got basically a wine here which is a sort of made with port grapes. Should smell port-like.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay.
Should
Very
smell
nice.
port-like.
And how much would that be?
That's about £6 in, I think this one is in Sainsbury's. And widely available, Sainsbury's.
It's very nice.
Okay, well, the thing is, Cliff, you were going to call yours originally Chez Richard, weren't you? You thought, for a laugh, you were saying
It was going to be,
Chez Richard.
Chateau Richard.
Chateau Richard, which sounds very nice. But in actual fact, you've obviously changed it to Vida Nova. Now, this
Yes.
picture, which I've cleverly hung on the wall in our kitchen, that's actually going to form the label.
Well, yes, it's an artist's impression of the house, which is just like that with these big trees here, and then the vineyard, of course, stretching away from the house towards the viewer. And what they're going to do is they're going to photograph it from like here to halfway there. And once that's condensed down to a label size, they already test drove one.
I love
and
it.
it looked really fabulous on a dark bottle like this. So that's what it'll be.
So you're not going to be like this on the back of the bottle after all.
No, I had the
That
photograph.
was quite nice thought.
Have you shown that photograph yet?
No, yeah, we did. We showed it earlier on, yeah.
Because I was so excited about it, I sort of went, yes! We got this picture. But they thought, oh, no, it's a Jesus picture again. And it wasn't meant to be like that at all.
Well, when you know that you're very proud of your wine, you probably didn't know, because I'm a dark horse, really, that I really have my own wine as well. Chateau Gloria. See?
I love it.
And in actual fact, I'm a rather expensive lady, as it turns out.
Are you?
I'm
Is it
over £20 a bottle.
You're glow.
I am. Are you going to open this for me?
will.
I always said this
certainly.
woman was never cheap.
Are you going to open it and then...
I will, yeah. It's a
Perhaps.
very, very distinguished claret.
We had to really search for this because I did taste it
Did you
years
know
and
of it?
years ago. I actually knew of it years ago, but could never find it again. And our lovely researchers actually managed to find 2 bottles only of it.
Are you okay? You've tasted it?
Not
I mean,
yet,
no, not
I
this one,
haven't.
but you've tasted
This
it
is the first
before.
one. There's another one hidden under there for tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
It's a good vintage too.
Or later.
It's a vintage one,
It's a good
Had
vintage.
you heard of it?
I have very much so. It's a very distinguished Bordeaux.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Good pop there, the cork.
Do we have a clean glass?
We do, just underneath the
Oh, excellent.
the counter, yes.
So I can trade you a couple of bottles then, Cliff?
Yeah, how about that?
If you give me some of yours, I'll give
I've
you
only
some
got
of
pour
mine.
these for
I've
you.
only got 14 left of my first lot.
There you go.
14.
I got through 35,000 so quick.
Let's see how it compares.
I think I might just have a dribble of this, actually.
Shall I pour this? Yes, I should do. It's your
It's a
wine.
nice,
Okay.
it's a nice colour
Lovely.
too, isn't it?
Oh, I've definitely got legs.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I can see it. Which year was this?
1996, which is a good year in Bordeaux.
It's very nice wine, actually.
Oh, look at that. Yes,
It's lovely.
Good.
Serious
Lovely
wine.
nose to it. Lovely. You can smell the
Oh, I
Cabernet.
love the
that?
smell of that. That perfume, not perfume, it's the nose.
Well, I
Got
should
a
just dab
wonderful
it behind
nose.
the
This
ears.
has got a
you know what
wonderful
I mean,
nose.
you know,
Nose,
put a bit
bouquet.
of-
Isn't it good?
Yeah.
Good slurp now.
Good slurp. Again, don't spit it out. Too expensive.
Oh, it's nice.
Nice.
Isn't that good?
Okay, Cliff Richard, I'll trade you at dinner time. How's that?
Okay, it's a deal.
Richard, thanks ever so much
Thank
for
you very
coming
much.
in
Thank
to do
you.
our tasting.
Thanks.
Will you thanks, Richard, for me? Thank you. Now, when we come back, we're going to be chatting to Cliff about the early days and his acting career in particular. But here's a snippet of Cliff singing A Misunderstood Man. That he is not. But anyway, this comes from the musical Heathcliff. Well, welcome back. Now, still with us is our very special guest for the afternoon, Sir Cliff Richard. And earlier in the show, we were talking about Cliff's latest album. But now, we're going to look back to the early days, and then after that, his days as a movie star. They love all of that. I want to talk about the influence of Elvis, first of all. Do you remember when you first heard him, or where you were?
Yeah, the first time I ever heard him, I was with some friends walking through our hometown, and somebody had pulled up by a newsagent, obviously by a paper or something, and the engine was running, the windows were down, and the radio was on. And as we were looking at the car going, oh, we heard, since my baby left, doom, doom. And it was, well, we didn't know who it was, because the guy came out, got in the car and drove off. So suddenly we thought, who was his voice? What was his voice?
And did it sort of blow your mind at the time?
It did. It was an immediate thing, and it affected all of us. We all loved it, and over the course of the next few days, we were listening to Radio Luxembourg, American Forces Network in Germany, and just to try and find out, and eventually, of course, we heard Elvis Presley. And it changed my life, of course. I mean, he was my huge, big, only inspiration.
And we have some home footage actually taken by a friend of yours when you went to Germany on a holiday, and you found. Will you tell me the story, because you found out where he was?
Actually, I went to Italy, to Viareggio, for a holiday, and on the way back, we drove there and drove back, and on the way back, we drove through Germany, and he said, we should try and find, I think he was in Baden-Baden or something like that, we should try and find his house. It shouldn't be difficult, it'll be the one painted, you know, with names. But I said, oh, no, I don't think I'll bother. He said, come on, you say you're a fan, let's go. So we went, we found the house, and I was the one that walked up the side of the house. It seemed to have the doorway, front door was on the side of the house.
Let's look at the film, and then you can talk us through where exactly you are.
Oh, there you go, yes. Now, you see what I mean? I walked up there, and the front door seemed to be at the side of the house, and this great burly guard answered when I knocked. And basically, Elvis was not home. He'd actually...
Were you disappointed?
He was in Paris. I mean, how could he be in Paris when there was a chance of meeting me?
Exactly.
Anyway...
Is this all the graffiti then outside the house?
That was graffiti
where he
on the house, yeah. We thought there might be something like that. Now, of course, I wish I'd met him, because I did get the chance once more in '76 and decided not to meet him because he looked rather overweight and... Well, this is me now in my first car ever, Sunbeam Alpine.
Were you pleased with yourself?
I was thrilled with myself, yeah.
That's your mum?
The thing, and that's my mum with me, yeah. Yeah.
And was she thrilled also? I mean, the fact that you were driving around in your
Yeah, both
car.
my parents were really thrilled for me and the success that came my way, because they were a great balance for each other. My mum was very much, go ahead, she encouraged my ambition, and my father would sit me down quietly and say, now look, if this doesn't happen, you have got to get on with life. So don't get so het up that you're going to be so shattered afterwards if it doesn't happen.
Sure.
So I feel they were a good balance for each other.
So, in the meantime, you're upstairs in your bedroom practicing that curl of the lip.
Oh, yeah.
Show me again. I love you doing this.
No, it's never... It's the attempt is this. But the thing is, though, my lips have changed. I used to have Jerry Halliwell lips at one time. Even Mick Jagger saw mine and tried to get his done.
Just to copy you, really. I know.
But the lips have got thinner over the years, and it's harder to do that.
But of course, it's very interesting that when it came to Move It in 1958 and Jack Good's influence and all of that,
yeah.
that here you were, the bad boy of pop. How could they have called you then?
Well, they called it crude exhibitionism. And should this thing be seen on television, you know? And
was this the hip bit, you know, the whole sort of
except
swivel,
that I never really did that. Jack Good Well, the very first time I was ever seen on television, funnily enough, the first review I ever had said, "Oh Boy" burst onto our screens last night. That's the TV series, Oh Boy, that Jack had produced. It burst onto our screens last night, and basically it's a close-up of a young man apparently chewing gum. And that was me, because he'd stopped me moving.
But I tell you what, it must have taken you hours to comb this quiff into place. But have a look.
Well,
here it is.
Well, I shake a bit of shit on the beat, don't lose it. Yeah, well, it's rhythm that gets into your heart and soul. Well, let me tell you, baby, it's called rock and roll. Well, they say it's gonna die, but honey, feel it fade. You say one more time. And now they just don't know what's going to be places.
I know. But you could see that I didn't really move. I just moved one knee and did a bit of this. And that's heavily the influence of Jack, because he did say, look, you do look Elvis-ish. Cut the sideburns off, get rid of the guitar, and don't prance around. So I didn't. And he made me use everything in the face, so it was always, come on, pretty. It was always down here and here. But it was good for me, though, because in the end, I realized that nobody was ever going to be a second Elvis.
And also taught you how to work a camera, presumably.
And it did. It taught
Yes.
me how to use the camera.
Now, when it came to the movie camera, I mean, which of course is a different ball game altogether, were you just itching to do films, to be that movie star, or how did the whole thing come up?
No, I mean, I never really thought of it, but it happened very quickly in my life, because I started in August of '58, and by November '58, I was in a movie, because they were making a film called Serious Charge, and they wanted an up-and-coming pop singer. Well, there weren't too many of us around. So I got this job, and
here you are from Serious Charge.
Yeah. And funny enough, I played the part of someone called Curly. Now, in America, they'd have changed the name to Rod or something like that. But in my case, they just changed my haircut. They just curled my hair up.
Curly. We have one from Expresso Bongo, just to get a little flavour of each film. So here it is. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Who was in that with you?
Oh, that was Lawrence Harvey.
Oh, good actor.
Oh, yeah, Sylvia Sims and Yolandi Donlan. And you know, funnily enough, I've heard so many things. When you hear about big actors, the young ones, it was Robert Morley. With that film, it was Lawrence Harvey. And people would say, be careful, you know, they'll grind you into the dust. They were so nice.
Nice.
I mean, I remember Lawrence Harvey was, one scene you were doing, he said, when we stopped one of the takes, he said, try it like this. Don't do anything, wait back, don't be worried about the gap, then say your line. And he was right. It felt better, and it was better. And so all those things you read about terrible actors mostly aren't true. They seem really nice.
Because the one that everybody remembers is Summer Holiday, because it was fun, it was absolutely fantastic. So we have, again, a little flavour of moving action in this case, and the bus.
We're all going on a summer holiday. No more working for a week or two.
In the driver's seat is Cliff Richard. On the upper deck, stowaway Laurie Peters, and he's a girl. Here they are, the wonderful Shadows, and that adventurous gang of young stars who made the young ones the top attraction of 1962.
I love you, 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 I love you. Am I boring you?
Just for the record, I've loved you ever since I was a little boy.
And how's this for a bachelor boy?
He said, son, you are a bachelor boy, and that's the way to stay. Look at us, really waltzing down.
It takes all kinds of people to make a movie, so strike up the arcs, strike up the music, and see what happens when Cliff and the gang take over a film unit in the exotic Canary Islands. The greatest of all the Cliff Richard musicals, Wonderful Life.
Do all the things that you do in your dreams, and you see it's a wonderful life.
I tell you what, the things you had to get up to. And And actually, this album relates to Wonderful Life, doesn't it?
It
You
does,
just marked
yeah.
out a few photographs.
In fact, the company was really good. Every time I did a movie, they gave me a huge album of all photographs from the movie. And the thing about Wonderful Life, it wasn't the best success, of course. Summer Holiday peaked young ones, but they were
Sure.
really the big successes. But Wonderful Life was great for one thing. There's a 21-minute sequence called History of the Movies, where it gave us a chance to play different parts. And here's me as Rudolph Valentino.
Hey, fantastic.
Look at that. I mean,
Those
Robbie
are
Williams,
brilliant
eat
to
your
have.
heart out.
Well, let's see a few more that you've marked.
OK, well, I've got some marked here. Let me see now. There's another one here. And, of course,
So as you say, you could go on into all different kinds of moods and looks.
Yeah, in this playing, I was playing a sort of film extra at the time, and I had to fight a crocodile, so there I am, fighting this crocodile.
It was a real
hastened to
crocodile, was it?
It was a real one, but I had it drugged.
I think that was wise.
Very wise. Now, this one, oh no, you'd never guess who this is? A very famous person, British.
I don't know, actually.
It's Cliff Richard as Sherlock Holmes.
No.
It is.
That doesn't look like you at all.
No, but you see, if you change the nose, you change the whole face. I've done this at home. I did a party once where I dressed up as a sheik or something, and I got a makeup person to come in and change my nose, and I stood at the gate welcoming people who have known me for 30, 40 years, and they walked straight by me.
Is that your disguise for going out to shop?
I haven't tried it out shopping yet. I'm too embarrassed in case somebody does recognise me. If they do recognise me, I'm going to hate it. Now, here's... now, look, here. Here we are impersonating. During this 21 minutes, we impersonated everybody. This is the Marx Brothers, Groucho, Harpo, and we can't remember the third Marx brother name, but that's Richard O'Sullivan.
Richard O'Sullivan, of course.
Here's Melvin Hayes, who is famous from Eight Hot Hoff. I can't even say
He
it.
played Gloria in Eight Half Hot Mum.
Me as Groucho.
Is that Susan
and
Hampshire?
Susan Hampshire as Greta Garbo.
Wow.
I want to be alone, and I remember my line of that one. With your grass skirt and my grass skirt, we could make hay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cliff, I know that in there you've got loads and loads of photographs of Una. And guess what?
What?
She's at the door. Let's welcome Una Stubbs.
This was the next picture. Look at that.
Well, you know what I thought there, Una? I thought that probably that's where you left off the last time you saw him. It was. So you jumped on him again.
Have you noticed it or mine?
No, there's a mine.
I never have
no,
noticed.
No. Listen, you must tell me how you got the job in Summer Holiday.
I went along to audition as a dancer, as a chorus girl, and I remember I did quite well at that, and then I saw Cliff talking to the director, and I saw him going like that, and I had this bob hairstyle then, and I think he was saying, she's okay. So,
I did, that's exactly what I was saying.
and so they gave me a film test, and then I got the part.
She would, though. Hello, darling, how are you? She had great reviews recently. I just read reviews for your new play.
Thank you.
Because you were going to go and see Una the other night, weren't you?
Yeah, I couldn't make it in the end, but we will come if that's okay.
Yes, at the Apollo.
At the Apollo, is that where you are?
She plugged,
with
but why
Penelope
not?
Keith.
Well, why not? Why not?
Penelope Keith, fun to work with.
Oh, fantastic.
'Cause
Really
she's like,
fantastic.
She's like such a wonderful actress, one of the top British actresses.
And
isn't
now that they're showing the repeats of her old television shows, you realise how fantastic she was. And I think she comes out even stronger now than one thought of her then.
Excellent.
You know, which is wonderful.
So if Penelope Keith is fun to work with, what was Cliff like to work with on the set?
So-so.
What do you guys remember, though, from that period? Because, I mean, that whole era was very exciting, wasn't it, from every point of view?
Well, everything was new for all of us.
Yes, and it was so unique that they were doing films in England. So, you know, people talk about one's careers. You just think how fortunate you were, because I was around when they were actually doing musicals, you know, and I was a dancer. So we were very lucky.
We were, and we
still
were getting
are.
paid for it, too.
Yeah.
Not much.
£50 a week I got.
Did you get 50? I got £750 for making the whole movie.
What,
Well,
for the
that's
whole
quite a lot.
thing?
Yes, was it?
You got 750 quid for the whole thing?
Well, that was the young ones. I think it went up to 1,000 for Summer Holiday. And, of course, in those days, we weren't at all streetwise. No. Nowadays, we'd get part of the merchandising and a % of every time it's shown. And it didn't work out. But still, I don't think I'd change anything.
It was the first time I'd ever been abroad, because you didn't go abroad as much as you do nowadays.
Where did you go to do the filming?
Canary Islands and Greece.
In Greece.
Oh, exciting.
Greece was Summer Holiday.
Yeah.
All the externals in in the film for Summer Holiday. We're all done in Greece.
And the first time we arrived there, we had beach call. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And we all had to lie out on the beach. And then somebody said, turn, and we all turned. And
That was me.
And that
I really love an even 10.
and then that was it. We weren't allowed to sunbathe again because of continuity.
So just to give you a little sort of blush, a little
Yeah.
flush of sun there to make you look healthy.
Yeah.
But it was,
Oh, it's
I
fantastic.
can't believe it was such great fun.
Well, listen, we'll hold him to the fact that he's got to come and see you in your play. What's it
Yes.
called again?
Star Quality.
You almost
At the
forgot
Which
it
he
then,
has
didn't you?
in abundance.
Well, precisely. And thank you so much for dropping in today. It was
you very
really
much.
good.
I can't
Come back
believe
again and talk about the play.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
Eunice
you.
Stubbs, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I tell you what, for 30-odd years, these two haven't stopped snogging, but there you go. Now, after the break, in the final part of our programme, there'll be more music and chat, obviously, with Sir Cliff. Welcome back to the programme. If you haven't been with us, you have missed the best, because our special guest today is Sir Cliff Richard, and in a moment we're going to be hearing another track from his new album, which is called Wanted, and it was all released yesterday. Now, there's one point I want to ask you about, because you had a year off, which I know you enjoyed enormously.
I did.
But it was an expensive year, because you ended up buying another property.
I did, yeah. I mean, I got it going that year. I'd looked at it the year before, in fact, the area. And a friend of mine, David Lloyd, the ex-tennis player who's created all the tennis courts here in Britain recently, it was his land, and he said...
You should say it is Barbados.
Pardon?
We should say it is
Oh,
Barbados.
it's in Barbados, yeah. But he said to me...
Excuse me,
he
tough.
said, if you're interested in buying a property, I'll give you first choice in my lot. So I went down there, and I did. I chose the best plot. I think it's the best plot.
And you very kindly brought an artist's drawing or an impression of.
No, it's a computer-enhanced.
Okay.
The trees aren't in there. They aren't in there yet.
This is the first time you've seen this on television, folks. Isn't this beautiful?
It is wonderful.
So how, and have you really been involved in the design? I mean, no, obviously you had an architect, but have you changed things?
Well, the original plan that they sent me... Can I put this down now?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The original plan they sent me was perfectly all right, but it wasn't quite what I wanted, so we started from scratch. So, obviously, I can't claim that I told him what I needed, the room-wise, the shape of the house, but I said to him, there's a Dutch feel to some of the houses. He said, don't worry, I'll do that. So, back it comes.
Back it comes?
Well, things like this here, all these things, I could never think of those things. He said, well, that's the Dutch look, and over some of the windows, he's got awnings that are very Bajan, so it has the colour of Barbados.
Pretty.
And
Well,
it's a lovely, it's going to be a wonderful house,
Now,
I must say. And the
it looks
view of the
gorgeous.
sea is 180 degrees, and we're probably less than half a mile as the crow flies. It's on a ridge, so if I could hang glide to the
We
beach in
wish
2
you
minutes.
every happiness in that. Now, the thing is, I know you're very generous to your family and everything, and she doesn't know I'm going to do this, so I feel a wee bit guilty, but a lot of your family are with us today, and if we just look, a third row up here, we have David there, and we have your sister Joan, and if we go along, we have Mick, your gardener, and we've got Pia, our lovely broadcasting friend from Germany, and we've all sorts of people. But Joan, I'm sorry to spring this on you. Would you come down and join me for a minute? Come on down. Let's hear it for Cliff's sister Joan. We'll have to get a microphone for Joan from somewhere. Come in, Joan. I don't think we've got a microphone. No, we've got a microphone on you. You sit
Don't be
there.
nervous. I'm just surprised that she hadn't fallen over yet.
The thing is, Joan, because there's, what, about 10 years difference between you?
Yeah.
9 or 10 years?
Don't ask
What-
which one's the oldest, will you?
What do you remember now when Cliff made it as such, you know, had this first hit Move It. I mean, how old would you have been at that time?
I was 8. Yes, 8, because you were 18.
Well, I was 18, you were...
10 years, 8.
Yes.
She's good at maths.
Good at
God, her
maths.
maths is great.
And so what do you remember about that period? I mean, what about the excitement in the house?
The excitement. I was really excited. You can imagine an 8-year-old and her brother is famous and singing on the television. It was just amazing.
Wonderful.
Just amazing. And changing your name.
Oh, I
from
know.
Harry.
Oh, yes.
To Cliff.
From Harry Webb.
But she's the one that used to get it wrong.
I did want to get it right.
She used to say, she'd say, Harry. Oh, sorry.
Do you ever think of him as Harry these days?
Oh, no, no.
Never?
Never, never ever.
So he was Cliff from age 8 and you just accepted that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lovely little story about how he used to take you to school.
Oh, on the bike, on
the
your crossbar.
bike. Well, the crossbar
Yes.
sometimes, and
Oh, and this
sometimes,
sometimes, yeah.
I used to wheel the bike along, and she'd stand on the pedal, and it was really tough work.
And then what happened when he got famous and got cars and things?
Ah, then it was like a chauffeur-driven car to school, wasn't
Oh,
it? Absolutely.
No, I don't think you girls liked it though.
No, I used to walk past. We used to say to the chauffeur, don't get out of the car, because they had this habit of standing there with their caps on. And he would stand there with a cap on, and I would just walk straight past the car as if it wasn't mine, and he'd have to, like, drive slowly till we were out of the view of the school and the children.
But he's a good brother to you girls, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's
How many
lovely.
sisters are there altogether?
3 of us.
And he
Yeah.
takes you shopping every Christmas.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Where'd you go?
Yes.
Did you go to Chicago last year?
Chicago last year, and I don't know, the year before, was
A couple
it?
of years before that.
Yeah,
And you
to
give them a
New
few
York.
quid to
York.
spend as well when they're there?
No,
Oh,
he doesn't
no.
do that. What a good idea, though. I hadn't thought of that.
Good
You
idea.
hadn't thought of
I
it.
know.
Well done.
You know what it costs to go first class jumbo?
But I know, Joan, you're very proud.
Yeah,
Indeed,
very.
I must just say on a personal level, our family's very, very
Yeah,
proud to
absolutely, yeah.
have Cliff as a friend as well. So, and you're the #1 fan. I've seen you bopping around
Oh,
there at the
absolutely,
concerts.
yes.
It's wonderful.
She and her daughter Lindsay.
Oh, Lindsay.
I can see them, and I don't see very well from stage. But at the Albert Hall, they have this box night after night, and I can see these 2 figures going.
Well, you know what, Cliff? We're about to do the same thing again because you're going off to get ready to
am I?
sing your final song. So,
Okay.
so Cliff Richard, it is. Now, just while Cliff gets organised with his backing singers and everything, not only have we had Cliff singing live in the house for us, but we now have a great competition for 10 people to win a signed copy of Cliff's new album, which, as you know, is called Wanted, along with a copy of his new compilation video, Unforgettable. Now, to win, all you have to do is to answer the following question. Cliff has had more top 10 UK hits than any other recording artist. But how many #1 singles has he had? And Joan mustn't answer. Is it A, 5? Is it B, 7? Or is it C, 13? Now, if you think you know the answer, and I think you probably do, give our competition hotline a call on 0900 111 4411. Calls cost no more than 30p. The lines are open till midday tomorrow. But remember, of course, to get permission from whoever pays the bill before calling. Well, now it's time to round up today's programme, and what better way to finish than with Cliff to sing what will be the second single from the new album. It'll be released sometime in 2002. This is the song, Let Me Be the One. Fantastic. Come and join us again. Fantastic. That was so lovely. Sit and join Joan. And what a really, really fantastic way to finish the show. Many thanks, of course, to Cliff and his sister Joan and Una, of course, who came in today. Thank you for your company. We'll see you tomorrow. So thanks a lot for your company. Bye-bye.